Hello, I'm Charles Alcock, and this is AIN TV. Today I'm visiting with Aerion, and more specifically its Chief Technology Officer, Richard Tracy. We're going to learn about the Aerion supersonic business jet program and how far they have reached in their goal of having this aircraft flying. Richard, please tell us, I understand you've been doing some new engineering work, some new flight testing work on this concept. What's the most recent development that you've been doing?
Well, you're right. We have been doing flight testing in conjunction with NASA at their Dryden Flight Research Center. First stage of a two-stage program to calibrate the flow beneath the F-15 test article, so we can then do some testing on a section of wing, in effect, being tested in that aircraft.
But just to be clear, at the moment you're not testing a full-scale airframe, if you like. You're testing this bit of metal, if I may say so, behind us. Tell us what this is. Is this a scale model, essentially?
This is a low-speed wind tunnel test model, 7% scale, for establishing the takeoff and landing characteristics, especially flap settings and this sort of thing.
And so this hangs beneath the F-15 and you take it flying. What sort of things have you learned? What sort of decisions would this inform?
Actually, this model goes in a low-speed wind tunnel, whereas the test article that we've been flying with NASA is a large flat plate for the purpose of calibrating the flow field. And the next step will be to mount essentially a section of the wing, if you will, about half the chord of the wing, on this plate to measure pressures and especially the extent of laminar flow.
And when you start doing flight testing, I mean, how often do you get surprises? How often does what you discover not entirely tally with what you've been doing in the digital design phase?
The flight testing, not so much. I mean, as long as the instrumentation works well, we pretty much predict what we're going to get, and we're pleased with what we see. The low-speed wind tunnel testing is a little more difficult because we're in an area where the computational fluid dynamics don't work so well, and that's why we're in the wind tunnel quite a bit with these low-speed tests.
And there's no dodging the low-speed testing, is there? Because although this aircraft is going to be known for its speed, unless you can prove it's safe at low speeds, it won't work.
Exactly. We need to make the runway length requirements, and especially we need to make the noise requirements on takeoff and landing. Otherwise, there won't be a certificate possible.
Okay. And in general terms, how well is this program progressing? Are you pretty much on track in terms of where you feel you need to be to get this into the marketplace?
Yeah, we are. We're not as far along as we thought we would be by this time, but we've been working on things that really couldn't have gone much faster as we go through it now. So we've finalized the design basically based on this last set of low-speed wind tunnel tests. We're now updating our performance numbers and updating our weights of our structures and so forth. So we're really ready for the push into a detailed design of a production airplane.
And I gather, Richard, you've spent a good part of your career working on cutting-edge aerospace technology, a lot of very high-speed programs indeed. How does this project measure up compared with the stuff you've worked on in the past? How exciting and fulfilling is this for you?
It's the most exciting and the most fulfilling. Yes, I worked on X-31 single-stage to orbit programs and so forth, which would be very challenging if we planned to make them. But of course, they're largely paper studies where this is going to happen, and we have to pay attention to every aspect of the airplane and of the flight envelope.
Well, thank you very much, Richard Tracy. He makes a very good point here. This isn't theoretical science he's working on. This is a real concept for a real aircraft. And remind me, when are you hoping to get it into service?
Well, hopes and likelihoods, but somewhere in the 2016 or 17 timeframe.
So here we are. We're only half a dozen or so years away from this being a reality. And Richard Tracy, we wish you well with the rest of the program. We thank you for your time. So for AIN TV, here we are at Aerion looking at their supersonic business jet, and I'm Charles Alcock.